What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Ratch Report. It is time to talk about the Toronto Raptors because they have made yet another signing, a last addition to the roster before camp starts. So I'm going to be talking about that as well as take a look at what their roster looks like going into training camp. So if you're ready to watch this video, make sure to hit the like button. Once you've done that, go in the comment section below because YouTube gives you the option to hype this video up. So definitely do that for me if you can. And if you're ready to watch this video, let's get right into it. Now, as you guys know, I do like to give out shout outs on my channel. And the shout out for today's video goes out to the Cis Doctor. Thank you so much for supporting this channel through your likes and comments. It is very much appreciated. Now, let's talk about the player that the Raptors have signed. Shout out to Blake Murphy, who announced that the Raptors have signed a familiar face, Jared Rhoden, former two-way player, dealt with injury issues last year and was let go ahead of a recovery summer. He'll be back in the Camp 905 mix. Great to see. Now, obviously, Jared Rhoden, for those that remember his stats with the Toronto Raptors, he did sign a 10-day contract. He played 10 games with them, averaged 21.5 minutes a game, shot about pretty respectable rate at about 50% from the field goal. Didn't shoot the three-point ball exceptionally well, 32.4% on 3.7 attempts, but overall his shot looks good. It was just missing a lot of good looks, but overall, shot 88% from the free throw line, which is great. Averaged 3.8 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 0.9 steals a game, and also averaged 11.4 points in only 21 and a half minutes. So obviously, he had a very, very productive, limited time with the Toronto Raptors. Looked very good offensively while doing so. And I'm going to be quickly touching upon what he brings to the Toronto Raptors moving forward. Now, I was actually a huge fan when the Raptors did sign Jared Rhoden. I like the addition. I mean, the guy is 6'6". He looks so much bigger than his frame when he plays out there. And although he's listed as a shooting guard, there's absolutely no doubt that the Raptors could play him at the small forward position, maybe even at times power forward position, depending on the teams they're playing. But essentially, what Jared Rhoden brings to the Toronto Raptors is an underrated passer. He does make a lot of great passes. And the reason I say underrated passes is because oftentimes as fans, we look at the box score. We look at the, stats per season, and we look at the fact that he may not be averaging a lot of assists. But when you actually watch the game, you notice some tremendous passes that he makes, but also some really smart passes as well, where he finds his teammates where no one's really anticipating the pass to go. He also rebounds the ball very well. Again, a 6'6" guy, but I mean, one of his games, he had 25-12 rebounds. The guy's a really, really good rebounder. He crashes the board quite well. And we kind of tie into what we were talking about, his physicality, right? He is a very physical player who uses his body well, pretty decent athleticism. And he does really get up there for the rebounds as well as attack the basket quite well. This is very encouraging to see from a Toronto Raptors point of view because, you have guards in Jacoby and Grady Dick is a little bit taller, but Grady Dick doesn't particularly finish well around the basket. So to have someone like Jared Rhoden just come in there, really finish well around the basket and just not be afraid to attack the basket, I think that's a very encouraging sign from seeing someone like Jared Rhoden. He's not exactly a young player. He's about 25 years old. So, but it's good to see that, even despite the fact that he hasn't had a lot of time in the NBA in terms of games played per season, he's still someone that is just really relentless and fearless when it comes to attacking the basket, even when it's going up against some of the bigger players. And as I kind of touched upon, he provides very good size for a Raptors team. Again, you got Jacoby Walter, that's listed about 6'5", 6'4". You got Grady Dick, who's 6'7", but he's just very, very light on his feet. And, again, at the shooting guard position, it would be ideal. Again, not necessarily a requirement, but ideal to have someone the size of Jared Rhoden. And again, like I said, he's kind of a player like Ochai where, he can play different positions. He's obviously much bigger than Ochai as well as not just height, but even just his weight class as well. He's someone that plays very physical and can play well off the ball. I mean, that almost seems like it's a prerequisite for Raptors role players because Scotty Barnes is going to have a lot of touches. Brandon Ingram's going to have the ball a lot, and also just some of the other players as well. When you take into consideration who the Raptors core is moving forward, right? Like you want guys that can be able to play off the ball. There's nothing worse than having role players that need the ball in their hands to be effective because then they're not cutting. They're not going to be hitting the three-point shots. But Jared Rhoden does a good job of moving off the ball, and that's going to be essential. Even playing with someone like Colin Murray Boyles, that's going to be great because he's going to find those passes for when Jared Rhoden is open. So again, overall, I am really, really excited that the Raptors are bringing Jared Rhoden back. It was very, very unfortunate where he had the season ending. I believe it was a shoulder injury, which ultimately forced the Raptors to kind of let him go. And obviously, I'm assuming he's healthy again and he's ready to go in training camp, which is one of the reasons why the Raptors have brought him back. But even if he doesn't crack the Raptors roster, you know what? He's a welcome addition to the Raptors 905. But let's take a look at the Raptors roster overall heading into training camp. So these are the list of players. Again, I know a lot of people when they're watching YouTube videos, they're more so listening, not really watching, because sometimes personally for me, I like listening to YouTube videos while I'm driving. So these are the players I will be listing that the Raptors will have on their roster heading into training camp. That's Ochai Agbaji, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, Jamison Battle, Ulrich Champche, Grady Dick, Chucky Hepburn, Brandon Ingram, Adrian Lawson, Sandro Mamukemishvili, Elijah Martin, the Raptors' second round pick, Jonathan Mogbo, Colin Murray Boyles. Of course, we know the Raptors drafted him in the first round. Jacob. Of course, I'm going to mess his name up here. Jakob Pertl, not Jacob Pertl. I jokingly say that offline, Jacob Pertl. But Jakob Pertl, we got Emmanuel quickly. Jared Rhoden is also on that roster. David Roddy. Olivier Sarr is going to be a very, very intriguing player as well. Jamal Shad, Garrett Temple, and Jacoby Walter. So the Raptors, I mean, overall, they head into their, training camp with 21 players. Obviously, they are going to have to make some cuts. It's going to be very, very interesting. As much as I've liked Chucky Hepburn, he actually looked very, very disappointing for me personally. I had much higher expectations in the summer league. Hopefully, he's worked on his game the last couple of months and he comes into training camp much more ready. But it's going to be very fascinating. Keep an eye on guys like Chucky Hepburn. Obviously, someone like Jared Rhoden is obviously fighting for a roster spot. David Roddy, Olivier Sarr as well. So those handful of names are probably going to be four of the players that are going to be fighting for the last roster spot. If you ask me, whether that's a two-way contract, and it's going to be a fun training camp. Obviously we'll break down the roster more once the training camp starts. But these are the players that the Raptors have going into training camp. But anyways, I'm very curious to hear what you think about the signing of Jared Rhoden. Did you like him in the limited time he played with the Toronto Raptors? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, I do have a trivia question for you today. And the trivia question for today is, which of these teams have Jared Rhoden not played for? Is it A, the Pistons? Is it B, the Wizards? Is it C, the Hornets? Or that giveaway, it's not D, it's the Toronto Raptors. So whoever answers this trivia question correctly first in the comment section gets a shout out in my next video. So that will be it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much once again for all your support. I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.